Had jury duty the last 2 days. I've never had jury duty before. I had to call the phone number a couple times, but never actually gone in. I always told myself if I had to go in for jury selection, I would lie. Say something like, "Oh, I believe anyone accused by the DA is absolutely guilty." Something like that would get me disqualified right away. However, when the time came to it, and I actually was faced with that potential choice, I wimped out. Didn't do it. I did tell the truth. Said that I could be unbiased, blah, blah, blah. Ended up being on the jury. It was a case for unlawful discharge of weapon, and, interesting case. Aside from the timing being so bad, because you don't know if you're going to do jury duty or if you're not going to do jury duty, I wish they would call you in for selection and they'd be like, okay, you're selected and it starts in a week, right? Something like that. Then you could plan and clear your calendar for a couple of days or something like that. Instead, you go in not even knowing until the night before if you're even going to go in for selection, much less if you're going to get selected. It's a real pain in the butt, to be honest. But the process itself actually found pretty fascinating and interesting. I'm glad that I did it, actually. We ended up deciding that the gentleman was not guilty. There were a number of things that weren't done that would have wrapped up their case against the gentleman on whether or not he fired the weapon, and they didn't do them. They didn't test for ballistics to match the bullet to the gun. They did not fingerprint the gun, the magazine, the ammo at all. They didn't do any residue testing. That one I could have let slide if they'd done some of the others. They didn't do any of that. After they established that they felt he'd done it and it was a crime scene, when they turned around, someone else ran out of one of the back rooms and actually shut and locked the door and refused to let them back in. And they never went and got a warrant and treated it as a true crime scene afterwards and thoroughly checked the crime scene, so they didn't have a casing or anything. All they had was the gentleman, the gun, and the bullet, because a gun had been fired through the floor into the apartment below, bounced off the concrete floor, and landed on the table. The goal is that if you're going to convict someone, that you believe they did it beyond a reasonable doubt. Unfortunately, we had a lot of reasonable doubt around these other things that were not answered, and a very wide time frame for when the crime could have happened, and no actual physical proof tying him to having done it. And it was definitely negligent, and it was definitely fired, but the question of who the gun had fired was definitely not proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Overall, I thought it was a really good experience. I think we did the right thing in the case. He might have done it, but there was enough lack of evidence that he might not have done it. And the burden of proof is on the prosecutor. And they should have done those tests and been able to fully prove the case. So, cheers. Thank you, Cat.